Hi, and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Maor. What we're doing here is changing our life and raising our frequency. Have you ever had that feeling that you're eating more than what you actually want to eat and more than what your body actually requires? Do you understand that when you're actually eating, you're creating a frequency with your emotions, with your intent, with your beliefs that enters your body and not just the physical aspect of the food? I have stumbled upon many different tools and understandings with everything that has to do with emotional eating patterns. I myself have suffered from emotional eating patterns in the past, like I think everybody. I mean, not that I was ever obese or overweight or anything like that, but what I noticed is that I have a very strong dependency. And I noticed that I'm eating more than what I should. I'm eating the things that I don't necessarily want to eat or not necessarily that my body is asking me to eat. And it all started in the 80s. Why? I was born in the 80s, and in the 80s, nobody really understood what healthy eating means. I mean, it was very rare that somebody was a vegetarian out of health reasons. It was very rare that people talked more about raw food or anything like that, especially for men. Now, in my house, we weren't very financially well off. My mom had to work 2 jobs. I hardly got to see her. And what we ate is all the things that a 10-year-old can make by himself. So that's like frozen pizzas and deep fried things. It all changed when I had like this crazy aha moment, like an epiphany about what food really is. And that changed in like 24 hours. It really was like a very drastic 180-degree turn. What I realized is that food is not only physical, which is what I thought, logically and emotionally. I had no idea that our intention, our emotions, our belief system, and the state of our mindfulness and presence that we have when we are consuming something, just like when we are making love, changes the structure itself. In other words, if I'm right now eating an apple, so yes, there is a part that is physical for the apple, but there's the part that is completely affected by my state of being, by my belief. How much do I love this apple? How much do I love my body? How much am I mindful in doing only that one thing? Am I eating something in front of the television while I'm conversing with somebody? Or am I giving it my full attention and being present while I'm doing that as well? All these things changed, and it changed profoundly the way I treat food. Today, if I do choose to eat, I will eat in a more harmonious way. I will always bless the food, even if it's just 1 second in my mind, because that shows the respect, and I know it changes the structure of the water inside the food. And this is why all major religions always bless before they eat something. Everybody knew it in the past. It's only that they had much more time than what we have today. What we have today is a fear-based, ego-based economy type of lifestyle when we are always running for our lives in survival mode. So we don't really have the time. Everybody's like, yeah, you have to get to work, you have to get to sleep, you have to get the kids from the garden, you have to do all these type of things. So you don't have the time to be with. Now, a Zen monk, for example, when they eat in silence, they bless the food, they enjoy it, they understand the harmony, they understand the relationship. Now, I want to hear about your emotional eating patterns as well. I want to understand how you found them, what they are, and how you healed them. So just write a comment down here and I will use this and I will add it and I will share it with my students as well. Now, again, it's not that the emotional eating patterns that we should fix only come when we are completely degraded and obese and unhealthy and already becoming sick. That is the symptoms that are way far off in the future. What we need to deal with is the things that we have right now. What is emotional eating for us? I can tell you that I've discovered many different perspectives about this. Since my team and I work in workshops with people mostly about their emotional eating patterns. Why? Because we're making such a big reset when we do all these dry fasts and when we're doing breatharian initiations and stuff like that. What usually comes up is what is food for us. For us, food is not just energy, it's not just nourishment. It's something that is a story that is connected with that particular food. For example, for me, pizza is the one thing that my mom made really good at home. So every time I eat a pizza, it doesn't matter that it's completely unconscious, I'm thinking about her. Or when I'm having hummus or falafel with friends, it means I'm going back to the time that I was a kid and we skipped high school and we went to eat something that is like a snack fast food in Israel. So that is the emotional attachment I had to that. For other people, it might be chocolate because your grandfather gave you that piece of chocolate, a very specific type. Or when you go to the duty free and there's a specific types of other chocolates that you have a connection with every time that you go abroad, or drinking a specific type of wine, or enjoying that snack at midnight because that's what you deserve after a hard day's work. All these things become emotional attachments to food. Now, when you are sitting at home, bored, or when you don't have anything interesting in your life, you'll probably notice that you're eating more than what you need to. Okay, you know this because the body kind of tells you, look, I'm already full, I don't need anything more, please stop. When I had emotional eating patterns, it wasn't because I felt sorry for myself. It was the subtle emotions, the ones that are not upfront in front of your face. In other words, it was frustration, it was boredom, it was not being satisfied with something. In other words, not being satisfied from my relationship, not being satisfied from my job. You'll probably notice that we have a few times in the day that most people want to eat, and some of them are like more sweet, more comforting food. For example, you don't comfort yourself with a banana. A person will comfort himself probably with a piece of chocolate or something that will not necessarily be good for the body. And that's why we call it emotional eating as well. Think about this scenario. You're sitting at home, you're watching something, and an emotion comes up. Now, you're not really realizing that it is an emotion that comes up. What you feel like is going to the fridge or going to the cupboard and getting something to eat. You don't understand this, but you're going to the fridge, you're opening the fridge up, and again, you're looking inside. Is there anything here that can heal my suffering, that can fill that void that I have in my heart right now? And you close the fridge, and then you go to that one cupboard that everybody has, that has the snacks or the things that you know that are going to satisfy that void that you have in your heart. And then you open that. It's either that you take something out, put a plaster, a bandage that will only fix that hurt for a few minutes, and then you go back to doing whatever it is that you want to do, an hour later, only to do this round again. Another example is that what happens very frequently in the office. In the office, sometimes some people get up to make a cup of coffee, make a cup of tea, go and snack some things. And what happens is that they don't realize that this is an emotional reaction to being overworked or to being tired or for needing a different point of view. In other words, you're sitting in front of a computer or in meetings all day, you're tired of it, you want a refreshment in some way. So it's not the actual cup of tea that you're looking for. It is the walking, the small talks on the way, it's to give the body a little workout, it's all these type of things that is also considered an emotional eating pattern. And what we actually want as light workers, as people who want to continuously work on themselves, is to get rid of any emotional eating pattern or any attachment that we have. One of those is to food. We would like to eat and nourish ourselves from a very harmonious point of view. And I can tell you that this really changed my life, because once I started seeing the emotional eating patterns and I overcame them, I stopped stuffing myself. I stopped thinking about the holiday times as the time that the family comes together and everybody overeats and then complains about it all the time. I stopped working in that attachment type of way. And this really changed my relationship with food, because what I discovered is that nourishment doesn't come only from food. It comes from prana, the life's energy itself. It comes from sexual energy, it comes from exercise, it comes from spending time with people that we love or spending time in nature. There's a lot of different frequencies and energy waves that are around us that actually nourish us. The sun itself always nourishes us as well, just like it nourishes the trees, because a human being is far way more evolved than a tree. In other words, a tree has DNA, an animal has DNA, a human being has more extended and more complex DNA. In other words, we can do whatever an animal can do, we can do whatever the tree can do. It doesn't mean that we are better in any way, it just means that we have more abilities. One of those abilities is to nourish yourself energetically. And it also helped me change my lifestyle to what I am today. And I can see a very big difference between before and what I do today. It doesn't mean, by the way, that I am 100% health crazy guy. No, I believe in the tire. Meaning when you fill up the tire too much with air, then it will explode. So you should fill it up and then just loosen up a little bit. It means you can snack, you can enjoy some food, occasional, the type of things that you know that are not necessarily good for the body, but understand that that is for the soul, and your intention is going to change it. Now, a common question my students ask is how much of the percent is energetic and how much of the percent is actual physical nourishment. In other words, can I drink poison and believe that I'm not drinking poison? And how will this affect me emotionally and my body itself? I can tell you this depends on you. It depends on so many different variables. The level of the frequency, how much your body is really in the 3D reality and not shifting to the 5D, your spiritual awakening awareness, how much the poison is strong, how much your stomach is strong to completely disable it. Have you attuned yourself to it? Have you practiced? In other words, it changes according to you, how much you believe it. I believe that there's a much higher percentage that it is energy and vibration, and we can change this by our intention, and less of physical. But again, it depends on the food itself. It depends on you. I've been practicing this for so many different years, so I was able to taste, change. I was able to see that my body is not really reacting to different foods that I thought are going to be heavier after I made certain changes in my belief systems. I tasted different things after meditation, before meditation, with blessing, without blessing. I tried for 2 months to take all the different supplements that there are to see if my blood is going to change and to see my energy levels and stuff like that. So I really experimented with this, and I believe that everybody should experiment with this as well. So what I can suggest is, once you become more aware of your emotional eating patterns, and most of you will notice that it happens much more than we would like to admit, first, find an alternative. It's quite easy, take a walk around, talk to a friend. Sometimes just say no, sometimes say yeah, don't pop the wheel, don't overfill it, don't over-expect. Do it gradually. It's really rare that somebody can do the 180-degree turn once he becomes aware. It happens in our life, but it's really rare. The gradual step-by-step is much easier. Take away something that you really, really like, but you understand that it is only emotional. Change it. Okay, change chocolate to a date or a banana or something that is a little bit healthier. You understand, it starts with the small things, and it's all about our awareness. And of course, you can work not only about the symptoms themselves, but you can work on the source, which is self-love, self-acceptance. When we love ourselves much more, the emotional eating patterns heal themselves. So my friends, thank you very, very much for watching this video with me. And thank you for taking the time to watching my content. You're very, very welcome to join and subscribe or check out my website, raymoor.com. I will see you in my next video. Namaste.